Hey guys, today we're going to be working on multiplying whole numbers, and specifically working with the standard NBT25. So, what this standard says: multiply a whole number of up to 4 digits by a 1-digit whole number, and multiply two 2-digit numbers using strategies based on place value and the properties of operations. We're going to illustrate and explain the calculation by using equations, rectangular arrays, and/or area models. So with our standard in mind, today's objective is to multiply a 2-digit number by a 2-digit number. And we're going to do that by solving this word problem here. So it says folding chairs are set up in a school auditorium for a play. There are 16 rows of chairs, each with 28 chairs. How many folding chairs are there? Now, before we can begin to set up and solve, we have to make sense of this problem. What is the problem about? What are we trying to find out? And what information is important? So we can take a look here and see that there's 2 numbers that stand out, which might lead you to believe that that's what we are going to be working with. So we know that there's 16 rows of chairs, each with 28 chairs. And because we're working within the standard of NBT25, we know that we're going to be multiplying these chairs in order to find out how many folding chairs are there. So once we've determined what we are going to be solving, we can set up and solve the problem. And we can do that a couple of ways. We can use an array and literally draw all of the chairs if we wanted to do that, or we can set up an equation for multiplication or solve it with an area model. So let's take a closer look at how we would set up this equation. Again, we can do it with multiplication like this, 16 times 28, or we can set up an area model. To do that, we need to take a look at each number and determine the value of each 1 and each tens place. So let's start with 16. We know that 16 has 1 10 and 6 ones. Now looking at 28, it has 2 10s and 8 ones. So once we have that part of the model filled out, we can begin to fill in each box. So to get started with that, let's go ahead and set up the multiplication that's going to occur within each quadrant here. We have 20 times 10. We have 20 times 6 here. We have 8 times 10. And then 8 times 6. Now once we look at it like this, we can start to fill in each box here to determine how many folding chairs are in the school auditorium. So solving for each box, 20 times 10, we can look at that like 20 times 10, or let's take a look at the tens value. 2 times 1 is equal to 2. Then we can just drop these extra zeros down into place, making it 200. Let's come over here. We can do the same thing. We know 2 times 6 is 12. Because this number here ends with that 0, we can drop it down into place. Again, we have 8 times 10. 8 times 1 is equal to 8, and dropping that extra 0 into place gives us and 80. And then 8 times 6 is equal to 48. So to find the product of 16 times 8, now all we have to do is add up each number in our model. So we have 200 plus 120 plus 80 plus 48. Adding up all these ones, we have 8 ones still. We have 2 plus 8 is equal to 10, plus 4 is equal to 14, but we can't put that 1 here. We have to bring it up over our other hundreds. So we have 2 plus 1 is equal to 3, plus this extra 1 here makes it 4, to give us 448 chairs. To get started with multiplying the equation on the left here, we have to multiply the ones place in this bottom number. So we have 6 times 8, which is equal to 48, but we can't bring that extra 4 here. We have to bring it up over our other tens. So then we have 1 times 8, which is equal to 8, and then 8 plus this extra 4, which is equal to 12. But we're not done, because now we have to multiply our tens value in the bottom number. But since we're not multiplying any more ones out of this bottom, we're gonna have to put in a filler for the ones place, because we're starting in the tens and working with tens or greater. So now we have 6 times 2, which is equal to 12, but again, we can't put that extra digit here. We have to bring it up over the next value, so we're placing it over the tens. Then we have 1 times 2, which is equal to 2, plus our extra 1 here to make 3. But of course, we're not done. We have to add the products from each place value. So we have 8 plus 0 to make 8, 2 plus 2, which is 4, and then 1 plus 3, which is 4. So once you finish calculating, regardless of the method that you use, whether it be area model or stacking an equation like this, if you're multiplying and adding place value appropriately, you should still find that same answer of 448 chairs. And now breaking down this area model a little bit further and relating it to our stacked equation, let's take a look. We multiplied our 8s in the ones place to find 128. So bringing it over to the area model, 8 times 10 is 80, and then 8 times 6 is 48. If you add those together, you get the 128 that we found in this equation here on the left. Now if we take a look at our tens value, 2 times 10 we found to be 200, 2 times 6 we found to be 120. If you add those together, you have the 320 that we were working with in our stacked equation. So taking what you've learned, whether it be the area model or this form of equation, I want you to go ahead and try a couple problems on your own. You're going to use what you've learned to solve these problems, showing your work on a separate piece of paper. Once you've completed the work, I'd like you to take a picture of it and post that picture, upload it in a reply to the discussion that I'm going to start on our Teams page. Again, once you've finished your work, I want you to save a picture of it on your computer and then come to our Teams page, find the discussion titled NBT25 responses. From here, you'll click reply, click this little paperclip icon, and then upload from my computer. You'll be able to find where you've saved your work, click the picture that you took, and hit open. That will upload it to your reply, and then once it's complete, you'll click this little paper airplane icon here, and that'll send it to our discussion. Alright, that's going to wrap up our lesson on multiplying whole numbers. I can't wait to see all of your responses and all of the discussion that you guys have on our Teams page. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. See you.